We received some very significant news today about the SEC and Ripple case. And while it may not be the best news, I will say that by the end of this video, I believe that all XRP holders who are concerned about this case will calm down and relax because, yes, the case is still very much in the final stages, and I do believe that it will be resolved by the end of this summer. We will discuss the reason in detail. First, let's begin with the market at this time. Bitcoin is still essentially at 107,000. It's not too crazy there. We did experience a decline in XRP. Therefore, we can truly observe the change here. The price of Bitcoin is down roughly 0.33% today. Naturally, the news we received today caused XRP to drop by roughly 4.9%. This is the appearance of Bitcoin. Earlier today, the price of Bitcoin did decline to around 106 ppk. XRP did decline to roughly $2.08. There was nothing really noteworthy going on, but everyone was generally somewhat alarmed by the news we received today, which is obviously this: Ripple and the SEC governor's joint motion for an indicative ruling was refused by Judge Torres. Now, this is causing concern for everyone. They believe that there will be further delays and that this case will just go on and on, as you can see from the vet's comments. Below this post, none of this is related to XRP, and I want everyone to grasp that right now. Alright, so in August, actually it was July of 2023, XRP was declared not a security by a court. The fact that XRP is not a security was also confirmed more recently. This is in no way detrimental to XRP. For this reason, I find it hilarious that XRP is being liquidated due to this decision alone. Eleanor does, however, draw attention to the fact that new Judge Torres' ruling in the ruling is that private agreements do not nullify public rulings, and that her ruling still serves the public interest. The parties cannot agree that they will not be bound by the court's ultimate decision. Here, they haven't even approached doing so. They can either go through the appeals process to challenge the judgment or withdraw their appeals and let it stand, she said. She is basically stating that if you know Ripple truly wanted this case to end, it might do so tomorrow. As an illustration, even Ashley Prosper One made this statement. In essence, Judge Torres told the SEC, "You wanted it? You got it now. Take care of it." Additionally, if you wish the case to finish, tell Ripple to do so. You are the only thing standing in your way. She is a really resilient person. Does Ripple pay the punishment and accept the injunction but then try to get a third chance at Apple, file a cross appeal, or obtain an exemption from the SEC for future sales? And does the SEC dismiss its lawsuit or does it proceed with the appeal? Given that both parties were prepared to do so in the first place, the fine is negligible to Ripple, and the injunction might potentially be turned into a positive because it was not strictly defined. I anticipate that both parties will conclude their cross appeals. When evaluated through a systemic compliance-focused lens, an injunction that is typically perceived as punitive might in fact become a badge of trust. Ripple is no longer able to wing it or pivot carelessly. Any activity must be approved by the court or face contempt. It can even be marketed by Ripple. We are the first cryptocurrency business subject to a federal compliance requirement. As Ross stated, you won't ever have to be concerned about legal surprises. The court document actually states that the parties are free to withdraw their appeals if they truly want to put an end to this case today. Alternatively, the parties may use the main avenue Congress established for parties to seek relief from the legal ramifications of court rulings, if they want the court's instructions to be overturned. Again, if they wanted this resolved, it could be finished tomorrow. Ripple only needs to, withdraw the appeal or use the main avenue for relief established by Congress. As I mentioned earlier, I do believe that this will likely be resolved by the end of the summer. We'll discuss that in a moment. That's the reason I say the end of the summer. However, we also have Fred Rispoli over here. Once more, with regards to Fred, these are the attorneys that I'm really kind of highlighting here. Regarding the conclusion of this matter, the parties are expected to submit a status report to the Second Circuit in August. That report will include one of two items. In that case, the case doesn't end until late 26 or early 27. The parties urge the appellate court to restore the briefing schedule, and the appeal continues. This is a very horrible path. Well, this is about as bad as it gets. The parties inform the appellate court that they have reached a settlement and request that the appeals be dismissed. Torres's rulings are still in force. The case is finished. I believe that two things will occur and that an announcement will be made by the end of July or the beginning of August this year. Indeed, this would be in complete harmony with everything. What am I discussing? Let's truly go over what Meta Lawman published here, which states that no court has to grant permission for the SEC and Ripple case to drop their appeals, since the attorneys for both sides must have expected that Judge Torres would not overturn her earlier decision. I predict that both appeals will be dismissed shortly. And yes, I do believe that we will essentially finish this by the end of the summer. Why am I referring to summer's end? Why is the end of summer on my mind? It's a few of things. The first is that the Genius Act and the Market Structure Bill, which is essentially clarity for cryptocurrency, are anticipated to be completed by the end of the summer, namely on August 1st. We are aware that the banking GOP recently released this piece in which new senators Tim Scott, Loomis, and Attilas, as well as Hegarty, outlined principles for legislation pertaining to the structure of the digital asset market. These will direct bipartisan initiatives to safeguard investors, promote innovation, and clarify regulations. Within this now, many thanks to Chad Steingraber. Before August, the U.S. Senate Banking Committee will unveil the full set of principles for the bill pertaining to the structure of the digital asset market. Let's take a closer look at this.